Howdy folks, welcome to episode 4 of A Runner's Tale. I think I'm going to call this one Centre of the Universe, because that's where we go later on. I'm at Lincoln Cathedral today, trying to get some peace and quiet, but there's a kid right out there screaming and shouting at its parents. But I shall continue. I had to move. The kids and parents had moved in for a few minutes, having a bit of a bite to eat. So, move on to another doorway. Well, I've got some pretty good company. Who do you think that is behind me? Yeah. It's a cathedral after all. Who do you expect to be here? Now, before I continue, I must make an apology. In the last episode I used a bad word. The J word. I can't help it. It was in my diary. I was young and stupid. I didn't know any better. But I'm old and stupid now, so I apologise for that bad word. Which bad word? The J word. Something we shouldn't talk about. That's for, those other types. We don't talk J. Yeah, we don't do that at all. Onward with a bit of athletics. I'm just going to summarise the first year, which we talked about last time. My 800 metres improved from 213 to 155.6. My 1500s from 438 to 401. And my 5000s from 1702 to 1458. That was just over 12 months, so 13 months. Quite an improvement. It continued in the second year. I keep having to move around the cathedral, getting away from noise. Someone parked their car right outside where I was talking and just left the engine running. Bugger. So, I've had to move again. The bells started ringing and they are seriously loud. Every 15 minutes off they go. I think the next one's the Owly chimes. It's going to get noisy. So I actually did some notes this morning, speed things up a bit, but it's not happening, is it? So let's continue from where we left off last time. It was the 3A's Junior 3,000 metres at Crystal Palace where I finished 10th. I did a load of notes this morning to cover the next 18 months. Just looking through, I think I did a lot of races, all kinds, 800s, 1500s, 3000, 5000, 10 miles, you name it, I did it. Even track relays, 4x1s, 4x4s, just getting used to competing, racing. It was all good practice, it was important stuff. It was all completely new to me, so the practice makes perfect. They weren't particularly hard races or local stuff, mostly. But you need to do that, I think. Get used to racing, to win, not just to get the times. Get out there and get racing. There's an organ playing behind me now. I think I'm going to have to give up on the cathedral. The organ's blasting away. There's a lot of tourists. It's a very popular place because it's a fabulous building, well worth a visit. One of the world's top 10 most beautiful buildings. So it's right up there with the Taj Mahal. It's fantastic, big, gorgeous, imposing. Sits on top of a hill overlooking Lincoln. Pop in sometime. It's gobsmacking. I moved away from the cathedral. The bells struck 2 o'clock and they were loud. There was a wedding going on as well. So they were all having their picture taken in the Minster Yard. So I've come elsewhere and it's just as noisy. It's just not a good place to do a vlog really, is it? I'm in the Roman Forum. Almost 2,000 years old, this place. Lincoln has a lot of history. Goes back to pre-Roman times. Behind me, up there, is Lincoln Castle. This is the Forum. Originally a well. later a church. Now it's just a space with a lot of tourists passing through, noisy kids, noisy parents, noisy shoes. I give up. I think I'll go to the beach and put up with the wind. As I'm in Lincoln's Roman Forum, I thought I'd do an old gag. The prologue. You got to be old to understand that. But Frankie Howard, up Pompeii, and salute. Now, one of the reasons I came to Lincoln today, other than to get my camera clicked, was I used to race here a lot as a youngster. Track races, cross country, road races, and my last ever race was here in Lincoln Half Marathon, and I retired just a few days after that. Crippled old fart. Knees finally gave up on me, and I thought, that's enough, I've had enough. There's only so much your body can take, and it's just time to call it a day. Move on to something else. I moved on again, moved away from the cathedral and the castle area, moved to Lincoln Arboretum. It's a little park here, lots of trees. It's a bit bland really, bit too much grass and paths, not a lot of character to it. You know, it's relatively quiet. That's a hard thing to find in Britain nowadays. It's a bloody noisy country. Back to the athletics. I might get around to doing this one day. Right, 1977 still. Summer track season over and done with. Did a few more races, 3000s, that sort of thing. Let's move on to the cross country. North Midlands. October 8th, here in Lincoln. I think it was over there on the South Common. I'm not sure if they race there anymore, but it's a good spot. Flat at the bottom, and you go up, along the top, and down again. Did the Eastern Counties there, finished second. Anyway, where was I? I'm so easily distracted. The second North Midlands of that season was at Derby, Markeaton Park. Happy hunting ground. I got 5th. Getting better very quickly. My notes then go on to December, and it was a Grimsby and District cross country, and I finished first, still as a junior, and I won the senior race as well. Well, combined race, but I was first across the line for both. For some reason or other, I've written down here, December 31st, Croxby Hill. Now, most of you will think of Lincolnshire as being flat and boring, and most of it is. But there are some hills, Lincolnshire Wolds and Lincolnshire Heights. Here in Lincoln, as you can see, there is a bit of undulations. Not a lot, but they're steep little buggers. Croxby Hill. I think that was the one only time I ever did that work out there. I think Mick Hall took me out there. He was my coach, first coach. Then onwards to early 1978, January the 7th, the Humberside Cross Country Championships, and I won it. Just a junior, but I won it. And there was some quality about then. Then later that month, the Inter-Counties at Allestree Woods, was it? Derby. All I can remember about that, it was a blooming enormous great hill in it. I wasn't any good at hills then. And I finished 32nd as a junior. Rubbish. I don't think I got much better. And then a week later it was the North Midlands at Melton Mowbray. That was the course I mentioned in a previous video. The flooded river, people falling in, running across the backs of them. Horrible. It was an army or RAF dog training camp. And a couple of weeks later, the Eastern Counties here at Lincoln. That definitely was over there at South Common. And I finished second in the juniors. Not bad for me. I had a fast finish. I think I stormed from about 4th to 2nd in the last couple of 100 metres. Give it some welly. It's not over till you cross the line. Or the fat lady sings, whichever comes first. Next on my list, there's the National at Leeds. I was still a junior, and I finished 24th. Big improvement on the last one. Just missed out on the team for the Worlds. That's okay, I can handle it. And a month later, it was all change. I went back to Manchester, job hunting, signed up for Manchester Harriers, and the training started to get serious. Had some seriously good world-class runners at Manchester Harriers. Ricky Wilde, European indoor 3,000 metre champion, world record holder, top quality cross country, top quality road runner, top quality fell runner, the master. And I tell you, training with him for a couple of years brought me on no end, and he believed in me. And the fact that a world-class athlete like Ricky Wilde believed in me made a huge difference. It's not about what your parents tell you, oh, you're going to be great. It's somebody like Ricky says, this guy's got the potential to be one of the best. You believe it. And running's very much a mental sport. You got to believe in yourself. It's not just about fitness, physical fitness, it's about mental strength and believing in yourself. Work on it. Now, it took a while to get set up in Manchester. I got a job, but I did have to pop back to Grimsby until things all got started. Did the Humberside Track Championships. I think they're over in Hull. And 3:58.3 for 1500, so another PB. I also won the 800 and the 3000. It was on 2 different days, but you know, good going. There's an event at Lincoln as well, a track meet at Lincoln, and for some reason or other, I'd written down I got some new Nike spikes. It made a big difference. I got close connections with them later on. And June 3rd, now this is when things start to take off. I'd had a few weeks training in Manchester and training back in Grimsby on my own. Intensity had picked up, volume had picked up. I was going for it. And it was the Northern Counties Junior 3,000 metres. June the 3rd, Hull, Costello Park. I won it. Big PB, 8:13.2. The guys behind me were absolutely world class. Mickey Morton, World Junior Cross Country Champion, and John Doherty, who went on to run about 13:16 or something like that. After I crossed the line, John asked me, "Who are you?" I hadn't a clue who he was either. But I just burst onto the scene that day, and not bad considering the elastic in my shorts had snapped very early on in the race. I had to take a pin out of my my number to hold them together. The last 200 was where I won the race. Just blew them away. Took about 5 seconds out of the pair of them. It was great fun, that. Beating a world champion, my first. There were more. Just a few weeks after the Northern, it was back to Crystal Palace for the 3A's Junior 3,000 metres. Mickey got a bit of revenge on me on that one. He won it. He a lot more experience, a lot more strength, and he pulled away in the middle of the race, left us all alone. And it was a case of me fighting for places, especially in the last 200 metres, just sticking the boot in and going for it. I I ended up second, so I got another PB, 8:12.36. So yeah, it's nice. And packed out crowds at Crystal Palace back in those days, and I could still hear my coach shouting at me. Great. Let's see, July 1st, Northern Counties, 1500 metres, the heats. Did not finish. I got tripped up, levelled, flattened. It's the only time ever in the race. But I did come back and do the 800 metres. In the heats, I got a PB, 154.4, and then got absolutely hammered in the final, 156. A week or so after the Northerns, raced at Stretford in Manchester, an 800, I got another PB, 153.7. It's important to do those 800s, guys. Get that speed, get used to blowing your lungs out. Makes a big difference. If you know you can do 55-second laps, then doing 60s is easy. I also did a 3000 that day in 8:17. And I did write down in the diary that it was easy. So, I was getting better. And let's see, a week or so after that, time to get serious again. Coombe Brown, South Wales, 3A's Junior, 1500 metres. In the heats, I ran 350.59. So, 8 seconds off my PB. I was second to Graham Williamson, who was absolutely bloody world class. You think Steve crammed, he was as good as, but he had injuries. Then the next day, 1500 metres final, it got seriously serious, world class. Graham Williamson won it in a junior world record. I don't know, something like 3:36, 37, 38, I don't know, something like that. Bloody quick. He was a junior, for Christ's sake. And the rest of us were just left trailing in his wake. I managed to get third, again just blasting the last 200. Second place was a certain Neil Black, who many of you will know. He's the boss at British Athletics, performance director. It's always funny to see him when they go to a big meet nowadays, when you were juniors together. But I ran 3:45.3, which at the time may be one of the fastest British juniors ever. That's up there with the likes of Seb Coe. He didn't do many 1500s as a junior, he was more of an 800 metre guy, but just a little bit slower than the likes of him. Impressive. So I went into that weekend at 3A's in Coombe Brown with a PB of 3:58 and came out with a PB of 3:45. Nice improvement. I was quite chuffed. Coach was chuffed as well. Thing is, I didn't get much quicker than that. I did a little bit quicker, but not a lot. I think I could have done if I'd concentrated on the 1500 instead of going up to 5s and 10,000 metres. I think I'd have gone a lot quicker, maybe 3:38, something like that. But wishful thinking. But I did get a couple of representative matches out of that. Ran for Great Britain against West Germany, the 2-mile race at Crystal Palace. Thrashed them all. Then it was back down to earth, local stuff. I'd moved into Manchester by then. And time to race another world champion. I did the line of type 5 road race in Altrincham. September the 6th, finished 5th. Certain Mike Tagg won it. He'd been world cross-country champion as well. Came back the following year and I won it, and he was second. So, another world champion. Oh, I'm frozen. When's it ever going to warm up in this country? There's not much left. It was road relay season after that. They are great fun. brings everybody together, clubs from all over, the north, the Midlands, the south, the Scots, the Welsh. It's all good fun. Then it's a nice interlude before the cross-country season starts. And I did one North Midlands race at Kettering. I won it. That was a first. Not just for me, but for Grimsby Harriers. I don't think any Grimsby Harrier had ever won it previous to that. But soon after, I left Grimsby Harriers and just signed up full-time for Manchester Harriers. I wonder what happens next. I think we move on to the big diary. And I haven't looked at that for a long time. So it's all going to be new for me as well. Hopefully I can edit out some of the screaming kids and screaming parents and dogs and bells and organs and me, and keep it down to a viewable length. Anyway, thanks for watching. Those of you who don't watch, you don't know what you're missing. It's all good fun, this. You might learn something. Anyway, give it a thumbs up. Do subscribe. We're into double figures now. One day I might get a decent following. Anyway, thanks a lot. See you again soon. Bye.